Hello, our great viewers. You're welcome to our program. In today's edition, we will review how the British interest in Biafra land have caused very big, disastrous problems, economic, social, political, psychological, and indeed all the woes of the Igbos today in Nigeria are caused on these very British interests that centered in Biafra land. Therefore, the reason for this very program is to alert and remind the Biafran government and the Prime Minister that it is very, very necessary to note this very area of British interest. And what is their interest in Nigeria? It is the oil and gas in Biafra land. It is these very blessed natural products in this very land that caused and ignited the declaration of war against Biafra between 1967 to 1970. The reason for reminding the Biafra government on this very issue is not because they don't have it in mind, they have not discussed it, they have not had it in their diplomatic moves, but it is necessary to remind them once again and let it be part and parcel of their discussions in any area they have diplomatic move. Especially, they have to also have this same discussion and ameliorate with the British government on how this issue of interest of oil and gas in Biafra land should be detached from Nigerian government. If the government of Biafra is to be independent of all these issues. It is well known that at independence in 1960, Britain never granted economic, political, and territorial independence to Nigeria. All these ambitions are lying low and being controlled through the northern oligarchs in Nigeria. Northern politicians and the monarchs, including the military, understand this act of agreement between the Fulani oligarchs and Britain. Every British government is aware, fully aware that North did not accept full independence of Nigeria. That is the reason why Britain uses them for economic and political occupation of Eastern region, Biafra land, and Nigeria at large. Both North and Britain, including the southwest region of Nigeria, understand that the economic hub of Nigeria is located in the southeastern region. And that is why both are fighting to ensure that Biafra will not be independent. As the struggle for Biafran independence intensifies, come December 2nd, 2024, both Nigeria and Britain have raised their eyes because of economic interests they are deriving from gas and oil in Biafra land. Therefore, the emphasis will continue on how to resolve these big interests through diplomatic dialogue. Again, this is because during the war, the British government refused to pay taxes from all their oil explorations to Biafran government between 1967 to 1970. Instead, they used Nigerian agents led by Colonel Gowon to fight against the Biafran government. Once again, Biafran Republic government in exile, led by its Prime Minister, Asylum, Ekpa, and the cabinet members, including other officers in charge of one department or the other must understand the relationship between the Northern Fulani tribes and, to some lesser extent, the Yoruba Muslims from the southwest with the British government. Britain understood that the Yorubas constantly support the northern hegemony whenever it comes to issue of Nigeria against the southeastern region, especially the Igbos. That is why the system of indirect rule and direct rule as well was left behind as controlling agents of Britain. That is the maneuvering power and the tool they use behind the scene. Gowon was effectively used, as everyone can attest. During the Nigerian Civil War, Britain used to maintain its oil interest in Nigeria. Britain does not play when it comes to their economic and political interest, especially amongst African nations they could control effectively, like Nigeria. Recently, one will remember that Sunday Igboho of Yoruba Nation agitator submitted an application to UK Prime Minister to consider Yoruba Nation as reported by Sahara reporters and demonstrated by the presence of this group in London. The question is, what was the response of the British government? The British government emphasized much on the importance of their bilateral relations, investment, security, and defense. That is what had been their interest in Nigeria. The Yorubas may not understand this language because they never experienced that interest of Britain in their nation. But for Biafrans, it is the language that brought about the civil war that lasted for 3 years, during which millions of Igbos were massacred and killed by Nigerian state on behalf of the British government. Let us see the interest of Britain in 1967, before the outbreak of Nigerian Civil War, or during the outbreak of Nigerian Civil War. The policy stated, I quote, British policy was mainly shaped by its oil interests. Our direct interests are trade and investment, including an important stake by Shell/BP in the eastern region. The Foreign Office noted a few days before the outbreak of the war in 1967. Then the British Prime Minister himself stated, investments by Shell BP, then a joint company in Nigeria, which was partly owned by British government, amounted to around £200 million at the time. The company was the largest producer of oil in Nigeria, most of which was in Biafra, unquote. That is the British trade interest, the British oil interest that made them to declare war against Nigeria through General Gowon to maintain their oil interest. This oil interest is not out today in Biafra land. This oil interest is still existing. That is why the Biafran government in exile had to do the diplomatic work effectively to take away the ownership of these very tax systems from Nigeria back to Biafra land. It is not an easy task because Britain do not want to do businesses with the Igbos. Rather, they prefer to do it through the north or through the southwestern Muslim Yoruba. You remember, it was not an easy task with them with Obasanjo. Therefore, they do not want Christians to be at the helm of affairs because of reasons best known to them. One would say, was Gowon not a Christian? Gowon was not a Christian. He was a puppet, Mwambe. He does not understand and he never understood what was going on. He was only being used and told or advised on what to do. He was only a follower of British Prime Minister Wilson, employed to accomplish the wishes and protect the British oil and investments in Biafra land as indicated by the British Prime Minister then, Harold Wilson. Mwambe. Therefore, it is necessary for Biafran government to define its interests, and Britain will define its interests as long as Biafran government and Biafran nation is concerned. The resources of Biafra and its terms of business engagement should be defined and properly defined, that Britain will not use Nigeria once again as a tool of making another problem and killing millions of Igbos. In addition to what is interest between the 17th to 19th century, by many Igbos were caught in chains and sent to South America and North America as slaves. Remembering what took place between the British merchants and the Jaja of Opobo between 1884 to 1891. Finally, as long as British governments are using corrupt Nigerian politicians who are using government instruments to subjugate the citizens economically, politically, and socially to satisfy the British oil and business interests in Biafra land, British diplomats will be praising the elephants, carrying them on their backs. With today's, we come to the end of this very program. Until we come to you with another interesting edition, do not fail to subscribe, like, share, leave your comment, and also hit the notification bell for all the programs to come directly to you. Please do not fail to air your opinion and leave your comment. It is very, very important so that we know your views and impression of what we have just detailed out. Thank you very much, and God bless you all. They welcome to you once again with another edition of our program. Remain blessed, remain healthy, and take care of yourselves. Thank you. Bye.